All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. Excited we have our good friend Mel for Thursday nights with Mel and I. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
We're
This
back at
energy is
Thursday nights
crazy.
again. We're back at Thursday nights again. Yay.
Yes. Well, probably this week and next week, and then we have Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well
So,
then
but it will be a little bit more regular, right?
right. I mean Thanksgiving's on a Thursday, so there you go. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then we have Christmas. So but I mean we've got December to do regular Thursdays and after the holidays, but we'll be regular. But Kevin and I were talking before we went live about we're planning something in Gettysburg. We don't know the dates as of yet, but it would be visiting haunted places in Gettysburg. And
Yes. I
there's a
always
couple
have a great time in Gettysburg.
we did. We had a
Um,
good time when we went there.
yeah. I've been there quite a few times, and I always have something paranormal or something that stands out during the trips. It's always a blast.
It was really
I'm
neat in the attic of the Farnsworth house.
mhm.
There was
I'm
lots.
looking forward to chatting more and getting something in fine print and talking.
That would be more of a smaller group, though. I think probably we could manage 20 people.
Mhm.
But I don't think Farnsworth House can hold 20 people. But we stayed in a hotel there that could actually take 20 people or more. But
Yeah.
um, well, but we can do tours of Farnsworth and be in the basement and the attic and all that stuff. So that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we'll plan something fun. I'm looking forward to it.
There you go.
We need all the fun, especially during these trying times, right?
Yeah, we do.
Something to shift the vibration. How are
There.
you feeling with all of the solar flares? I shared an amazing download that I had on my community board, and I actually got some pictures of the Northern Lights last night. So I will just share that at the end of the show today. But how have you been feeling? I've been feeling this massive shift this last week.
It's amazing that here and even in Illinois, people are seeing the northern lights.
Yeah.
I saw them in Iceland, but just let me say they are not green. Okay. The reason they look green when you take the picture on your camera is because your camera can pick up certain colors that our eye can't see. The
Hmm.
northern lights, sometimes they might have a little greenish cast, but not much, or a purplish cast, but they look white and they almost like you can see them dancing around and they look like, little clouds and stuff.
Hmm.
But the reason we're able to see them here in Chicago, or not in Chicago because there's too much light pollution. You have to
Yeah.
be way out in the country where there's no lights. It has to be a clear night, is because of the solar flares.
Hmm.
And what they are is it's a plasma. They're charged particles, and the Earth's magnetic field kind of goes like
Protect
this.
that. Yeah.
And so, the way I was explaining, these particles, are drawn into the Earth's magnetic field, and then they kind of like take a sliding board down, and the way they interact with the atmosphere, that's when you can see them. But with
Mm.
solar flares, there's so many of those charged particles, we can see them then um, here in the Chicago area, not in the city. Again, light pollution, but you have
Hmm.
the country somewhere. And I have friends who live way out, and they, in Lake County, and sent me pictures of them, and it was really cool. I'm a science geek,
Yeah.
um,
I
and
have a few posted on my community board too, if anybody wants to take a look. It
well,
was a little cloudy though.
now here they almost look red, but you can see that red and green.
Hmm. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
These are
Red and green.
well, they don't look that to the naked eye, but these are compliments of my friend Debbie and Paul Vesper. So Debbie and Paul, if you're watching, thank you, thank you, thank you. But you can see how they interplay,
Hmm.
right? Um, and wait, I'll show you. The ones I got from Iceland were really neat. Um, so the solar flares haven't been making me tired. They kind of been playing havoc a little bit with some communications, so
Well,
communications getting staticky and things like that.
we're in Mercury retrograde right now too, and it's
I
kind of
know.
brutal.
Mercury
So,
retrograde, solar flares.
a lot of intense energy, but Well, and I heard too with the Northern Lights, they were seen as far south as Florida too, which is really unusual. But
Well, it was the way that the Earth's magnetic sphere works. So it kind of goes like this. And so, yeah, they can. So
it's not very common for it to go down that south
it
way.
is not common at all to
Yeah,
see them like in Florida or even here, but it's because of the gigantic solar flares.
yeah.
Here is a money shot that I got in Iceland.
Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah, they dance around. It's kind of neat. Um, some people on the trip said they were disappointed because they thought they would be able to see the green with the naked eye, and you just can't. Here's one I got. We could just see this thing playing around. It was just like dancing around, and it was so neat.
Yeah,
If I can find a picture, I've got a picture of what they look like. They look more like this, so you can kind of see them dancing around, but they look whitish like that.
yeah. You
That's
can pick up the colors on the phone though,
yes,
um,
but
and
this
it
is how
depends too on where it's at in the atmosphere for the color.
it looks to the naked eye usually.
Mhm.
So you're not going to see it as that green, even if it no matter where it's at in the atmosphere. And so this is a close approximation of what it would look like to the naked eye, right there.
It almost looks like a cloud.
Yeah, they dance around like clouds, but they're neat to see. And it's funny, you'll see a little one, and then all of a sudden you'll get all this activity, and then they'll just kind of go in and they'll come back. It
Mhm.
really is cool.
Yeah. Well,
I'm a
I will say on Tuesday when I did my show, I was feeling very charged, and I've definitely felt a shift in my frequency. Sorry if you hear the dogs barking.
That's okay,
Um,
folks.
but I started to have a bit of a migraine right before my show. And so getting migraines or just feeling fatigued because it can be overwhelming for the physical body, mess with communications or um, technology issues. Those are all pretty common with these solar flares.
So here's a 2D rendering of how the Earth's magnetic field looks, but think about it in 3D, kind of
Mhm.
looks like that. You see?
Yeah.
And you see at both poles how it gets narrow. So when they come into the atmosphere, they kind of catch on here, but they take the sliding board down that way, and that's why you see them up north,
Hmm.
Arctic, and then the opposite way, it would be in the Antarctic or in the southern hemisphere. So, but when there's a lot of solar flares, the energy is so intense that the particles, the plasma, are so intense you can see them like
Yeah.
so.
And I
It's
feel like the sun is going to continue to stay very active with these solar flares. We had a big uptick last year too.
right. Well, it's just it goes in cycles.
Hmm.
But our magnetic our magnetic field around the Earth protects us from the sun's ultraviolet rays and gamma rays and things like that. But
Hmm.
it's pretty interesting. Again, I'm a science geek, but um, I mean, here again, we had some issues, with communications on cell phones and internet. It can disrupt some things, but um,
It even messes with the Schumann resonance, the Earth frequency, and so it can stir up a lot um, with the Earth shifts too. So don't be. I was picking up for the last week or two another pretty significant
so you can see
earthquake.
these arrows, so they kind of come here, and then
Yeah.
they come in this way, and then they slide down that little, I call it the sliding board, and that's why you can see them there and here too. So it's kind of neat. Check it out, you all. You'd like it.
Everybody's being impatient. We got a lot to read on you guys.
Yep.
Mel and I haven't caught up in a while, so it's good to catch up. So please be patient. We will get to
We'll
questions, I
get to
promise.
you. Real quick, I want to talk about my trips. I've got openings on the Danube. If you book it by the end of this month, you get a $200 savings, free airfare. Uh,
Hmm.
Parting in May. So book it. It'll be neat. Then I'm excited because we have a tour of Iceland in August, leaving August the 8th. We won't see the Northern Lights because of the daylight hours in Iceland at that time, but it's a full solar eclipse that lasts for about a minute. So we'll get to see that. That's exciting. Then in September, the Galapagos Islands, which is going to be incredible. They're in Ecuador. If you're interested, call my office, 847-590-5411. Thanks to Andrew Niki for your wonderful skincare products. They're incredible. And Andrew graciously donated bags of full product, full product line for everybody that attended our event in Benicia. So
Yes.
thank you, Andrew, for that. And that's my infomercial.
You're good, Mel.
Kevin, what do you got?
Well, I will say, and we will talk more. And when things are more set in stone, we'll talk about our Gettysburg trip for next year. Yeah.
I'll set a date and we'll talk about it.
Yes. So
I'll give a little anecdote, a little taste.
We'll do a special show, just kind of
like having the taste of the potato chip. Then you want
you got to keep a little bit.
I will say, go online and check out ghost hunting equipment. Don't bring anything huge, but start checking it out because you probably needed some of it when you come on this ghost hunting expedition.
I have some ideas, and I guess it will depend on where we go. If they have equipment we can borrow.
Me too. We'll
figure that all out.
Yep.
If everybody could do me a favor, and I've been bringing this up recently with my shows, but please do us a favor. Please hit that thumbs up. And even after the video post, please comment, because my YouTube algorithms have been all over the place.
Me too.
A lot of other channels are dealing with the same thing.
Me too. Like, I never lose subscribers. Well, but a lot of people in the community, psychics in the community, have lost subscribers. And it's not people unsubscribing. I think it's just YouTube playing with the algorithms.
I've had many people reach out and say that they did not unsubscribe and they were automatically unsubscribed. And a few of them said it has happened multiple times. So that's why like I said, if you could just hit the thumbs up after the video post, leave a comment. I've noticed it starting to go back up somewhat, but it's still just being very wonky. So
yeah, I had like 27 people that unsubscribe, but when I talk to people and other people in the community and people that are also subscribers, they're saying they're watching the shows, but I don't know what YouTube did. Maybe I think what they're doing is if somebody hasn't watched the shows in X amount of time, then they just automatically unsubscribe them. That's what I think is going on.
Yeah, it's just been weird. My view counts have been way under it as well.
Mine too.
So yeah, doing all that helps. And if you could all please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm getting pretty close to 25,000 and would love to hit that goal before the end of the year. So
you will.
With that, I greatly appreciate. And of course, go over to Mel Doerr's channel and give him some love. Subscribe. Please give him a thumbs up on his videos too. We really appreciate it. And we appreciate the moderators who watch over the chat.
Oh, we could not do this without our moderators. So
yes. For myself, just very quickly, I'm teaching classes this weekend, so I'm excited to meet with my Reiki students. But at the end of this month, I'm teaching a Holy Fire Master Level class. I have 2 spots open for that. And if anybody's interested, you can still join. You do have to be a level 2 practitioner, Reiki practitioner for at least 6 months and have your level 2 symbols memorized. And just have a good amount of experience doing self-Reiki, treating others, and doing distance sessions. I do have Reiki shares too, if you want to get a little bit more comfortable with that. Again, it's for level 2 because it's not that I don't welcome anybody with any experience, but just because it's a virtual session, we need to be able to do Reiki at a distance. So I do have a Reiki share going on in December the 6th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. And then in January of 2026, I have 2 Holy Fire Level 1 and 2 classes. It is a beginner-friendly class. Or even I've had some that have a Usui Reiki training or other Reiki training that really enjoy the frequency coming through with that. So great time to let go of 2025, set your New Year's intentions. Reiki can help you with that. But all of that is on my website, kevinlovingvibrations.com, or you can send me an email with any questions. I do have some openings in December for readings and Reiki sessions.
I just want to comment real quick. It's off the subject. Take Kevin's classes. He's an excellent teacher, so I'd go for it.
Thank you. I love teaching.
Yeah, me too. I do too. I had somebody comment a couple weeks ago that when we're doing shows that I tend to look down and this and that. Well, let me show you what I'm doing. So people ask questions, and what I'm doing is I'm Googling it on my iPhone to find the answer. And if I'm looking down, show, I take notes.
Yeah.
The things that are going on. So I'm kind of hearing what Kevin's saying. I'm scrolling through the comments. I'm looking up things that perhaps I haven't heard and just fact checking and doing so. I'm not distracted. I'm paying attention to what's being said, but I'm also doing 3 other things at once.
It's a lot of juggling that we do. And I look down as well too to make sure that I'm hitting my notes and things that I'd like to look at. So
a lot of juggling. Okay, so
let's get started.
Okay, here we go.
I think what everybody really wants to know is us to take a look at the Epstein file stuff coming out, which has been very telling.
I just put one up for you, Kevin.
Yeah. Laura says the clock is ticking. The Epstein files keep leaking. How much longer before Trump is asked to resign?
Well, I don't know if he's asked to resign, but I don't see him finishing his full term in office. Now, I don't know that's because he resigns or because of health or because of death. But
I think I always get that it's more than just one thing. It's more than just the health. It's more than just the Epstein stuff. It's a combination, like a collective energy that will take him down.
But then I also see impeachment. So I see more impeachment articles against Trump, but also against impeachment against J.D. Vance as well. And I keep seeing in the House, I don't know if it's Marjorie Taylor Greene or some people in the House that are going to start, I don't know what it's called, but start a petition, if you will, to remove Mike Johnson as Speaker. And
that's coming soon too.
It is coming soon, but I've been looking today at the emails, and they redacted some names about the Epstein files. Epstein, however you say it. And it shows that Trump lied about Clinton when Trump said that Clinton had been to Epstein's private island. But the email said that Clinton had never been there. So Trump lied about that. They don't come right out of what I've read so far and say that Trump did anything, but they kind of implicate him. So
yeah,
there's a lot more coming out, a lot more.
Oh, for sure. Now, and I think it's interesting too. I can't remember if you predicted this, but I know that I've been saying I felt a lot of the information coming out for overseas, and these email leaks actually showed him reaching out to trying to connect to Putin, which is what I've said all along. So I love that validation there. I've always felt that it's not that we won't get some of the information about the victims and all of that, but what I've always felt really takes Trump down with the Epstein is the financial and funding of the trafficking. That's where I think a lot of that information is going to come out. Unfortunately, I'm not necessarily picking up the big bombshell being him abusing somebody. Not to say that he didn't, entertainment purposes only.
There's a lot of bombshells coming out.
But the financial aspect is what I really see taking Kim and quite a few others down.
And also how it was a cover-up.
Mm-hmm.
But now I guess Trump is begging the courts to help him out with this, and they're not going to. They're not going to rule in his favor on this Epstein stuff. They're just not.
I love now that the government's reopened, although I heard Johnson was sending them back on vacation because they're trying to distract from this Epstein stuff. I could be wrong with that. I didn't see it on the actual news, but I watched a video saying he was sending Congress home.
It is a distraction, but it's not going to work. But I pulled a card for the whole thing about Trump and the Epstein files, or Epstein, however you say it. But it's Epstein in German. Mm-hmm. But I get justice. So I see him and his cronies brought to justice.
Yeah. Well, and also about truth. It's fighting for fairness and equality, right?
Yeah,
For the victims.
for the
Absolutely.
victims. That's right.
But
The courts aren't going to help Donald out on this one. I can tell you that right
can I just say, though, I think it's so funny. Where's Trump been? Anytime the press has been going around him or Johnson, they're all like scurrying away, trying to run away from it. I love that we're not hearing his fat mouth talking.
Well, when he gets
To get a
silent,
bit of a break from that.
when he gets silent, he's up to something. His next wag the dog is going to be something with Venezuela, but that's going to blow up in his face as well.
Okay. Well, I threw some cards on it, and this is, I said, this week's going to be a you know what show, a lot coming out. We've been saying for a while, too, more and more of the Epstein stuff coming out. I have a whistleblower leaking information about the deals, all of things that were done in the dark coming to be illuminated with the sun. So the secret's being exposed. It's interesting too, because the death card is coming in here. So that's endings, judgment. It's a big wake up call for some. And I think that it's part of the shift that I'm feeling too, where I'm just feeling very hopeful. Like this isn't going to last a whole lot longer.
Oh, that's what Trump's doing. This is the death card.
Yeah.
But
well, he's not doing very well with the health.
It also means anxiety, worry, but he's going to come out with something completely different that's just people are going to be aghast to distract, deceive, and divert attention away from the Epstein files, but it won't work. It's not going to work.
Yeah. I mean, Laura asks when, that's always the hardest part to pick up. I see a lot of big changes and a lot of things coming to conclusion between either fall of this year to like March of next year. It feels kind of like in that window is what I'm seeing right now.
Not going to happen right away. All right. Are we ready for our next one here?
Yes.
And this is what I was looking up. Did Mike Johnson just close the government again? Well, he can't close it. He can send them on vacation. But I looked and I didn't see anything on it.
I looked as well before because I watched a video where he was supposedly sending them home again, and I did not see that as well, but I had just watched a video. So
let me just,
I think it'd be very interesting if he did.
Well,
would they work 2 days for the whole year? We had to pay them taxes.
They shouldn't be paid, by the way. They should not be paid for that time they took off. Let me see. Did Mike Johnson send Congress, right?
Yeah. Well, what I will say is interesting is if he does send him home, I was wrong on Tuesday with my prediction that I felt the government reopening, but the pendulum and what I was picking up with the cards was that there might be a delay till next week. Well, that didn't happen, obviously. The government's open. Adelita Grijalva got sworn in, so I predicted that. But if they're sent home and they're not doing anything, not that the government's closed or shut down, but they're not doing anything, might have been what I was picking up.
He hasn't sent them home that I can see here.
Occupy Democrats did a video. That's what I saw.
I did hear him speak again, and when he was saying that, the woman, I can't think of her name, that he was supposed to swear in, Gribalda or whatever, and he didn't. He referred to Nancy Pelosi. Well, Nancy Pelosi didn't swear in so-and-so for 28 days or whatever. And the commentator said, but wait a minute. The person Nancy Pelosi was going to swear in asked not to be sworn in for 28 to 30 days, and Nancy Pelosi just granted her request.
Well, we all know the only reason why he didn't swear her in and why they stayed home was because this Epstein stuff was building, and the further and further that they can delay to try to keep it under wraps.
And he wanted to hold off on it until after these past elections because he didn't want to do anything that might not bode well for the Republicans and for the MAGAs. And I think that was part of the reason for the government shutdown too, to try to blame the Democrats so that, Trump thought it would give the MAGAs more of an edge in this past election, but it didn't. It blew up in their face, and it's going to continue to blow up in their face.
Yeah. What do you think about this? And I just threw some cards on it. We've been saying as well that more and more Republicans are going to start to have enough of this and start to step away from Trump. Do you actually feel like a good amount of Republicans are going to vote to release the files?
Well, they already have voted to release the files, didn't they? Or they will. I mean, but
You have a couple that signed a discharge petition, but
what does that mean? I don't know.
It means that they have a petition going on where they can get a certain amount of votes to force a vote on the floor, because Mike Johnson won't on his own vote to release them.
Well, they will force a vote on the floor, and I see voting for them to be released.
Do you see Republicans supporting that, though?
Some will, actually.
I feel a good amount, actually. And these last elections last week, the Epstein stuff, what I pick up energetically is they are all freaking out about what's going on.
But didn't her name Adelita I can't pronounce it, Grijalva or something?
Grijalva.
Wasn't she Grijalva? Wasn't she supposed to cast a vote that would like make sure that
that's a discharge petition?
I see. I gotcha. Well, have they voted on it?
No, I think it takes a week after they have enough votes to force a vote.
Well, they will force a vote on it.
Well, and I think Johnson actually, because they're going to force a vote, said that they would vote on it next week. But I think it's funny because they did call in Boebert to try to get her to take her name off the petition. And I think they tried to contact Nancy Mace and she just ignored them. But I don't see them changing their vote. And I think a good sizable amount of Republicans are going to vote to release the stuff. I just threw some cards on it, but their hands are tied. And there's the fear of them losing their jobs and it coming to an end. I'm telling you, I think quite a few Republicans more and more are going to start to flip on Trump.
Let's take the other way around and say, even if they vote not to release the files, and if they vote not to release the files, it's not going to look good. It's going to look like a cover up. But the point is that still there are people that have those files that would release them anyway. Now the genie's out of the bottle. Pandora's box has been opened, and this is going to open the way for a whole flood of whistleblowers to come forward. That's
for sure. I think the elections last week is what opened Pandora's box, and this is just adding to it.
Well, I see that they'll vote to release the files. But Donald Trump is begging the courts to do something right now to keep those files from being released. And I can see, emergency petition to the Supreme Court, blah, blah, blah. But I see them released.
Yeah. I will say, though, where I always felt like what really takes Trump down was like Russia or a foreign country releasing the files. Not to say that Congress can't and that they won't, but I almost wonder too if the information Congress gets, we already know his name's going to be redacted, and there's not going to be a whole lot that really implicates Trump with what the DOJ sends Congress to. So, but it's interesting for sure. Sunny Valeria says Trump called Boebert in the Situation Room. From Bondi and Patel, they had a big old meeting in the Situation Room about all the emails being released.
Well, would they've been released? I saw some of them. I don't know if they've all been released, but there's thousands of pages of documents. But I still see all of them being released by hook or by crook.
Thank you for the super chat, Becky. Yeah, and I agree with what she's saying. I won't say it on YouTube so I don't get censored even more from YouTube, but you can all read.
He's in the bathroom changing his diapers. How's that?
There we go. I agree. He is spending a little more time.
I just have to say that Becky comes on many of my trips, and she is such a delight to have on a trip. She's so much fun, and thanks, Becky.
Yeah, Becky's a sweetheart. Love her. All
Um,
right.
all right, so we
Let's
got,
see
let's
what
see.
else we got here. I hadn't heard this. Um,
Yes, I read that. That's true.
did you?
Laura,
Did you?
hmm,
Yeah. Laura says hidden in the new bill is a law to make all hemp consumables illegal. Will that actually pass, or finally will weed be legal? I see it being legal at some point. I'm surprised it hasn't been federally legalized.
I think what the bill said is the way that they, not so much growing marijuana, but the way that they extract THC from hemp.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're saying that they can only extract X amount, but it's really going to hurt the pot industry because a lot of edibles and gummies, they use hemp to extract the THC. So I don't know exactly what it says, but it's $1 billion industry, and it is in the bill, yes. But I still see people filing suit to uh, that to reverse that that law or that legislation to uh, that makes um, extracting X amount of THC from hemp illegal. I see it going to the courts. And I think what the courts are going to do if it goes to SCOTUS is they're going to kick it back to the states again. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I see it.
I see it being legalized federally, though. I'm actually not feeling like the court um, telling states that if or kicking it back to the state. Well, it's already at the state level. It's not
Well,
recognized
but they're
federally.
trying to make it federally illegal. I mean,
Yeah,
how
I'm
they,
saying within 2 years, though, this changing and it being legal.
but I still see people being able to get pot in the states.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I also and edibles and things like that. My point is that portion of that bill, of this new bill, I see states filing lawsuits and things like that, and I see it could get as high as the Supreme Court, but I still think that lower courts would say it's like what it is now. It goes
Mm-hmm.
back to the states.
Yeah.
And so, and that part of it is just I pulled a card on it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
7 of Cups, which is delusion, confusion. So it's going to be a lot of confusion about how do we extract the THC, but there's loopholes around. There's loopholes around it. So
Yeah.
I see that part of it. I see that part of the bill overturned.
Yeah. Like I said, that was the first time I heard from it, but I do see what came to me right now was like 2 years it'll be legalized federally.
Here, let me just look at something. THC.
It. I don't want to spend too much time on that, Mel. I think we read it enough.
Okay.
Um, and I will just say Kelly S. Just said that I don't get Bobert will remove her signature. I'm not picking up her removing her signature from the discharge petition either.
Nor will Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yes.
Um,
So. All right.
you
And
know,
Beth,
a last minute provision in the bill would decriminalize any hemp derived products, but I still see that challenge in the court. All right.
it's all good. Becky says if the DOJ lies, they can really get into trouble. Well, I don't know if it's so much lying, but I think it's more of this cover up that they're trying. They're not going to be able to cover it up, though. So I do actually feel like there's a lot of scrutiny for how shady the DOJ is being, and of course, Trump.
Well,
I'm
another
surprised he actually signed to let the government reopen with all of the Epstein stuff coming out because he loves a good distraction.
well, the thing is, it's coming out too that Pam Bondi lied about appointing Lindsay Halligan and this whole prosecution case against Comey and Letitia James. And a judge ruled today really saying that, there's going to be so much that Pam Bondi has lied about. And she is going to get in trouble, Becky. I see her ultimately indicted for obstruction of justice and abuse of power. But it was funny that the judge today said that this U.S. attorney was invalidly appointed. Judge Curry did it. Um, hmm, you know, so the question was, does Bondi have authority to appoint a special counsel? Specifically, when Judge Loose Cannon said that Jack Smith was appointed inappropriately because he wasn't confirmed by Congress. So they used that same argument today against Pam Bondi. And, they said something about that Bondi backdated stuff and that um, she said she ratified it some way or another. But it's like how, but then she said she didn't know anything about it. So how could you ratify something if you can't find the transcripts from the grand jury? So it's really another S show. Um, but it's not going to bode well for Bondi because she did things that I see were illegal. So uh, I think they're going to have a hard time finding Congress appointing a special prosecutor to prosecute Comey and Letitia James.
I see
Because
it being thrown out, the cases.
so do I. It's unconstitutional because they're going after them because they stood up against Trump. That's what it boils down to.
Although I will say, I see those two, their cases being thrown out, but I actually felt with, who was that guy with the mustache? Bolton. I actually feel like he's got a little bit of trouble coming up.
He does.
Mm-hmm. Although Trump went after him, it's a revenge tour with him. Anybody that opposed him, he'll go after. But I actually felt like they had something there that might stick, or he might have some legal trouble for Bolton.
Right.
Rich says if the Republican lips are moving, they're lying. Yeah.
I got a feeling that with the hemp consumables as well. Let me go back to that. I hate to go back to it, but that if they're going to do some revotes supposedly in December if the Republicans keep their words on it. But I see Democrats and Republicans coming forward saying, no, we want this hemp thing taken out.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's where I see it going.
I don't want to spend too much. We've answered quite a few of Laura's questions today, but she just made one that Maxwell has a puppy, yoga classes, and freedom in her cushy prison.
And hot showers and all kinds of
walks outside and stuff too.
Yeah.
So has she already been free, and is she just waiting to be released when the time is right for Trump?
If he pardons her, what's going to hit the fan. And there were some prisoners that complained about her special treatment. Other prisoners weren't getting it. And because they opened their mouths, the government retaliated and moved them to places that are really horrible, to horrible prisons. And so that's unconstitutional because you have the right to criticize the government without fear of reprisal from the government. So those prisoners that were moved will file a lawsuit against the government and they will win. They'll be reinstated back. They'll be sent back to this jail. Now the government will say, oh no, we didn't move them for that reason. We'll move them for this and that, but no, it's retaliatory. So Kevin, let me ask you a question. Do you think that Maxwell's going to get pardoned?
It's interesting because they go back and forth on it. And at some point I felt yes, but I feel there's definitely talks and an arrangement there, I think, for sure. But I'm almost feeling it all crumbles to the ground before she's actually pardoned. That's
Trump
what I'm
looking for reasons as to why he should pardon her, how he can do it.
Well, it's not even so much reasons, I would say. It's to save his own ass.
Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
But because, but if she's pardoned, then she can come forward with these files. But the thing is, I'll pardon you if you don't come forward with the files. She has them. But I pulled a card on it. Look what I got, the moon. There's so many hidden things coming to the surface.
Yeah.
With the Epstein and her involvement in it. And it's before Trump. If he pardons her, I mean, it is going to reek of cover-up. And my guides tell me if he pardons her, at some point once he's gone, it would go to the courts, and the courts would say that his pardon of her was illegal. Because if you're pardoning someone who did criminal activity to cover up your criminal activity, that pardon's invalid. And that if he pardons her, that's exactly where I see it going.
Well, if he does pardon her, and like I said, actually feeling like he's not able to. Um, but she would flee. She'd be gone. We would never see her again if she was pardoned from prison.
Well, my light bulb just went on. If he pardons her federally, then I see states picking it up
Okay.
so they can try her in the states for some stuff. So you're right, she'll flee, but the states would petition to extradite her back here for
I
trial.
I and I but I don't see that. If she's gone,
Um,
she's gone. We won't ever hear from her again. But like I said, I the thing is that the only reason why he's considering it is because she's threatening to, you know, involve him and share her knowledge. That's why she got moved. Um, but if he were to do that, I mean, his base would freak out. The Republicans would freak out. I'm actually not really feeling him pardoning her right now.
I'm going to run this past you. If she does squeal, will the same thing happen to her that happened to Epstein? You know, my intuitively and for entertainment purposes only, you know, his death in jail is highly questionable. And I see that there was foul play involved there.
Yeah.
Okay. Because of what he was going to come out with. Will the same thing happen to her? What do you think?
No.
Okay.
She has insurance policies that they know about.
I know people are going to be asking that question. And I like the fact that you said she has insurance policies. And when you said that, I got cold chills. So that's a yes.
Yeah, that's what came through to me when you were talking about it. Insurance policies. No, they wouldn't.
All right. Oh, here's a good one. You know, here, can I put this up, Kevin?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll let you read it.
The entire Republican Party, right up to the felon in his cabinet, are 100% complicit in the cover up. What those poor girls went through. Absolutely.
You know, what gets me about this is you have people like Mike Johnson and all that saying that, you know, the Democrats are just using this Epstein file to discredit Trump and whatever. And he claims to be such a Christian. And now they're trying to minimize it, saying, but those girls, they were late teens, but they looked older. They're still minors. And Mike Johnson claims to be such a Christian. So how could anybody that claims to be such a good Christian possibly try to make this look okay? Because it's not.
Because they're all hypocrites. They have their head so far up his ass.
Correct. And it's going to not go.
But I see that changing soon. I really do.
And my light bulb just went on. And that's why I think people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, even though I despise her politics, is going to, what do they call it when they start a petition in the House to remove the speaker?
Oh, yeah.
And that's exactly one of the reasons why she will, because of this whole Epstein thing and how he is kind of going along with trying to cover it up.
I was feeling like Johnson may be out of the speakership like January, February. It was coming through. So a little bit longer, but not too much.
You know, from the time he got in, I think I predicted that he wouldn't stay in as Speaker of the House very long. And here we are.
Yeah. I'm going to post this, but I'm going to make a correction because I'd heard Fetterman had another incident, but he didn't have a stroke. He had a atrial AFib attack, which I think is, if you have AFib, I think you're much more likely to have a stroke or have a huge cardiac event. But I don't think it was a major event. It feels like it was kind of minor. I feel like he's just being watched right now.
He'll survive it. What can happen if you have AFib? Because I know I've had it, and I've had an ablation where they zap the heart. They burn the area of the heart that's causing the AFib. What happens is because this is a normal heart rhythm and this is AFib like that.
Mhm.
And because of that, the blood can pool because it's not being pumped correctly, and it can cause a clot, which then leads to stroke or heart attack.
Mhm.
I don't think that he had a stroke,
Yeah,
another stroke.
he
Uh,
didn't.
right. And my feeling is he will survive it. Absolutely.
That's why I corrected it, because he didn't have a stroke unless something developed from what I originally heard. But I heard it was an AFib attack. I see him getting through this, but this will be. I'm not sure when he's up for reelection, but I think he's going to start to get pressure to step down because of the health, and I don't see him. I see him being primaried and losing when he's up. I actually, who was it? Was a show I did not too long ago, and I had forgotten about him. Connor Lamb, I think, ran against him during the first part of his term, but I feel like he may be his replacement, Connor Lamb.
Yeah, I do not see Fetterman reelected, but
His career is over.
I see a really dynamic Democrat
Mhm.
that will win, and I think will do very, very well in that seat. So that's how I see it playing
I
out
do
too.
too.
All right. Let's see. Where are we here? I don't know where we are, Kevin. So,
I feel like all of our questions we have start as Laura, and I know we start other ones, but she wants
we've
to know.
got like we've got.
It's fine. I want to read on this anyway. So,
Okay, go ahead.
how does JD Vance feel right now about Trump and his cabinet? Is there anyone in the cabinet he will get rid of when he takes over?
He'll get rid of a lot of them. JD Vance, I feel behind the scenes is hoping that Trump will have to step down because JD Vance wants to be president
Mm-hmm.
so bad.
They're all talking about removing Trump as it is. He's been talking about using the 25th Amendment for a while now, behind the scenes.
Um, I mean, JD Vance is really hoping, yeah, that this brings down Trump. And I would feel that um, if and or when he does become president, he won't hold office long and he'll be lame duck. He'll change a lot of cabinet members, but I see him impeached. I keep seeing impeachment articles. And I just, if he's president, I don't see it lasting long at all.
Yeah, I have a hard time even envisioning him being president. And I agree, if he is president, it won't be for the rest of Trump's term. It will be very short lived. I think, I don't even know how much I want to read into this because why put energy into something that I'm not saying? But if he was to get in there, I think he would try to rule with an iron fist, just like Trump does. The thing is nobody's afraid of JD Vance. I think when Trump goes down, the whole party crumbles and collapses, and everybody turns on one another. There's no way that they would coalesce behind Vance.
Well,
That's how I feel.
you've been saying for a long time that that part of the party, the MAGA part, is going to implode, and that'll prove to be correct. So,
Mhm.
yeah, JD Vance doesn't have, he's not mouthy like Donald Trump. He's not he, Donald Trump.
He doesn't have the base.
Donald Trump has, whether you like it or not, he has a charisma. I didn't say it's a good thing. It's not a
Yeah.
positive charisma, but he's got that way to energize people, and JD Vance does not have that.
Yeah. Well, the MAGA base isn't behind JD Vance either.
No, not at all.
So he can't control them. They're not going to be intimidated by Vance. I just threw some cards. The final card I got was a death card, which is an ending. Or if he does get in there, it's changed very shortly.
Can I put this up? This is funny. Can I put this up?
You don't have to ask, Mel. You can put it up. It's our show.
There you go. Look at this one. This is so cool. I love this.
When will the orange one pop a vein? Before Christmas, so I can pop the cork of the bottle of champagne I had in the fridge to celebrate Kamala's win.
That could be a really good poem. He popped a vein, so I popped the champagne.
Why do we need him? Celebrate life anyway. I feel like all of us are just obsessing over Trump and the Republicans and all of that. Why give them so much power over you? Live your life,
I mean,
celebrate it, and I don't know.
we
If
need
you
to
want
speak
to
up.
pop
I
a
think we
bottle of champagne, do it because you celebrate your life, not because something happens to Trump.
I mean, I think we need to speak up against the injustice and
For
against
sure.
lies and all that stuff. But people are so hung up in the fear. And it's like, no, let it get behind you and push you forward. I mean, I'm living my life. I'm traveling. I haven't stopped traveling, not going to. I mean, I will speak up against injustice. I'll continue to do my work on YouTube. But Kevin, you're right. But you and I are living our lives.
Yeah. I'm not allowing Trump to dim my light or to put me in such a resistant state that that's all I think about and I obsess with it. I mean, sure, we read on it because I think people find our messages comforting during this time,
Right.
but don't allow somebody to consume so much of your energy.
Yeah, I mean, if I allow that to happen in my life, and I will speak up and I'll be
Yeah,
vocal and I'll do what
we
I
can
can
stand
do.
in our power and speak our truth. Nothing wrong with that. Tap into that inner authority, but don't allow somebody to just live rent free into your head 24/7.
Right. I mean, I will, like I said, speak up, do our work. But if I live my life letting him into my head that much rent free, I like that. I like that.
Hmm.
Then that's robbing me of my power, and I will not allow him to have that much control over me to rob me of my power.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
and also too, we get to decide what we're powerful in our energy. We're sovereign in our energy. We get to decide what we internalize and what frequency we sit in. So why sit in a place of fear and just we're just putting more and more energy into this doom and gloom. Shift your perception, focusing on things that are supportive for you. Be the world that you want to create. Sit in
well,
that.
but
We're not victims. We're not helpless.
let's look at the bright side of this. After 11 months of him being president, look at how the people are pulling away from him. His popularity rating is grossly unfavorable.
Hmm.
Like Lena Rodriguez said, people aren't going to step away from Trump all at once. It's piece by piece by piece. And that's exactly what's going on. I mean, look at social media, how we are and other people are speaking up, and look at how unpopular he is, and look
Hmm.
at how the MAGAs even are turning against him. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who we never, most people thought she'd never do that. My point is, it the energy is shifting
Hmm.
because we have uplifted that energy so we can speak up. People pulling away from him, and we're saying we will not tolerate this injustice, this flagrant abuse of law, the breach of our Constitution, and so we're taking our power back. Yay! And that's what I want people to remember.
And also, I'll say, place focus in on the wins. We
Yeah,
just we just had amazing elections last week. Why are we going back to
right.
being pissed off at the Democrats and everybody's upset about them folding when the week before everybody was upset about losing their healthcare subsidies or not having food. So it's like we're just choosing to focus in on the negative and we want to sit in that energy.
We just
Focus in on the wins.
we just had a blue tsunami. That
Hmm.
right there tells us about was was that a vote against Trump, the blue tsunami? No, it was people's way of saying we've had it. We
Yeah.
don't want Trump doing this to us anymore. So we're going to use our power to vote to bring about change, positive change for the people. That's what's going on.
Yeah,
So
focus
let's
in
get
on
for
that.
the tsunami.
So much more productive. And I don't mean to be preachy. I mean,
No,
if
me
you
either,
want to
but
live into fear, that's on you. But don't
me
project it towards me because I'm not living my life that way.
No, me either. I refuse to, Kevin. You're right. So, you know what? But it's okay for us to be preachy.
Mhm. Well, it's not being a judgment of others
It's
because
not
we're
just,
all in different paths and You know, whatever frequency you want to sit in, that's your business.
You know,
If you're open to my help and in the energy that the guidance that I'm getting to give to you, I
bingo.
love it. But
You know, this past election wasn't really a referendum against Trump.
mm-hmm,
It was people in a way saying, no, we want positive change and we're not getting it with the Trump regime. So we're going to exercise our power to vote. And nobody was holding their nose saying, oh, I'm going to vote for this one over that one. No, they genuinely voted because they were tired of all the crap that's going on.
mm-hmm,
So it was more than a referendum against Trump.
yeah,
Okay, preaching done, right?
yeah. I think we upset people, but again, take it if
It's
it resonates with you. If you're not ready to hear that guidance, then
not
that's
about upsetting people. It's just about doing our due diligence. It's about speaking up. It's about saying we won't tolerate this, but yet we don't have to let it have such a negative effect on our lives because we have the power to change it.
for sure. We don't have to allow it to consume us. So,
Correct.
all right, people are saying I'm being preachy. It's okay.
It's okay.
Don't like it, don't watch. Like I
It's
said,
okay to be preachy. Sometimes we have to be.
yeah.
You
But
know,
when you're so sensitive and empathic, and all we're trying to read and be a clear conduit for energy and messages coming through, and all you feel like you're getting is projected fear, and it's the end of the world. Well, you choose to create that reality. I don't, so I'm not taking that on. So I'm sorry if it gets me upset.
it's kind of like ICE here in the Chicago area. People, even in the suburbs, they've been in the suburbs, they've been pulling people out of their houses, taking, putting kids and not those zip ties and, pushing people down, being brutes,
It's horrible.
it's horrible.
Yeah.
But but we're speaking up. And here in Chicago, what's happening is there's a network going on. And today, my office manager said, "Oh yeah, they were over by where I live, and people were reporting it. ICE in this area. So we're all keeping watchful eyes on it. We're
Mhm.
all speaking up against these thugs that Trump has hired, who really aren't law enforcement officers. They're thugs, and we're all standing up against that.
Yeah.
So, we can still say we're not going to allow this to happen, but still live our lives.
Absolutely. And it's not having compassion for those that are suffering. It's a
It's
collective lesson that we're all learning. But also too, it's stand up and speak your truth. But we are all on our own journey, and through a lot of our suffering and traumas is where that growth,
I,
and the learning of those lessons, that growth, that evolution, which is what we're here for, is is what we experienced during those hard times. If everything was great all the time, sure, it's a wonderful thought. We'd be comfortable. We wouldn't be growing or evolving. So you really need a lot of these lower frequencies, a lot of the stuff going on in the world to really grow and to shift and rise above it. It's to bring awareness to people that have, been in a lower vibration. So
certainly put an end to
yeah,
apathy. I have compassion for my fellow human beings,
absolutely.
the people that are being sent to concentration camps. That's immoral.
Yeah.
It's evil. It's disgusting. It's horrible. I have compassion, yes, and I'll continue to do my job to stop this totalitarian BS and to bring about human rights, but here again, we can still live our lives.
Mhm.
So, here,
Yeah.
this is a good question. People are worried about this as well. Um,
Go ahead and read it.
Lorraine R says, will our Social Security and Medicare be taken away? The answer to that is no, I do not see that.
No.
We'll still get Social Security. We'll still get Medicare, albeit with this big, beautiful bill, which is really the big BS bill.
Mhm.
Insurance prices can go sky high. The MAGAs have wanted to take away Affordable Care Act, but Trump's been yapping about it for years, but yet they don't have anything to replace it with.
Mhm.
So, And people are going to start standing up against that too and saying, no, we need affordable health care. We need medications. We need health care insurance. And so, with what Trump is trying to do to dismantle it and our government, it's going to make us more strong to stand up and say, no, here's the things we demand. And it helps us be strong in getting rid of Trump and the MAGAs.
Yeah, I don't see them taking away Social Security or Medicare. I never.
No, that's not an entitlement, by the way. When they say that's an entitlement, that's not an entitlement. That's something we've all worked and paid into. It's not like the government giving us something. No, it's our money.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
I'll just say, let me end our last topic like that, and I think I'm going to share the energy that came through for me, just because it kind of resonates with what I'm talking about before we wrap up. But we need to, sure, be observant of what's going on in the world. We need to stand up for the world that we want to create for the suffering. But also, too, some things are out of our control. We can vocalize our opposition to it, but we don't have to take that onto our journey. If it's out of our control, we're not responsible for that. Right? And that's not having compassion. Right. I'm not saying that. I'm saying stand up for what you believe in. Right. But I think it's really important that we place our awareness and perceptions on the things that we want to create. And so when we focus in on all of this toxic energy going on, and we allow that to consume us, energetically, we're just manifesting more of the things that we don't want, more of this fear and and anger and this lower vibration. Again, if you can, try to ground your energy, take a bit of a break if you need it. Focus on the things that you are in control of, focus in on the world that you want to create. And it's not easy. And I'm not saying it's easy or I'm judging anybody for your experiences, because it's hard for all of us. But I think rather than going against one another, this is a time for all of us to really come together and support one another, right?
And to across the aisle and together, we can get rid of the tyranny. Hello. Yeah. It's like when I had cancer, and I've said this a million times, and it's really becoming cliche, but the answer came to me: don't let the fear stand in front of you and hold you back. Let it get behind you and push you forward. And that's what we need to remember. And
that's where we have to place our awareness, our energy in.
That's right. I like this by Foxy Roxy. She says, we've all been waiting for this implosion of the regime, and it is starting to implode.
Yeah, it is.
It is happening, and we must remember to still be patient. We may be only able to digest in bits and pieces, but we must keep our souls uplifted. That is really neat. Foxy Roxy, for that one, I'm going to give you a free reading. Call my office, 47-590-5411. That says it all to me.
Well, that's what he wants. He wants us to feel defeated. He wants us to be in a fearful state. We don't have to allow that.
You're right. He wants the chaos. He wants the fear. He wants the anarchy. He wants to divide us. He wants us to feel frustrated and angry because that gives him control. I'm not going to give him that much power over me.
Exactly.
Here, Donald, read between the lines. This is for you. Right? I won't give the finger because we'll be a YouTube deal, but I can do this.
Yeah. We all got what you were saying, though.
Right. Well, I can do this too. That's a good one. So anyway.
So before we wrap up, because I think that this is a good place to stop. We've been on for an hour. With all of this frequency coming in and shifting that's taking place, and I'm actually feeling very hopeful with the energy coming in, I want to share a message and energy that came through for me that I think might be healing for all of us. And again, if you're not ready to hear it, it's okay. Just take what resonates with you out of it. But let's all, just to close, just get comfortable, sit down or stand up, and let's ground our energy by just connecting to our breath. And taking a deep breath in, filling up that lower belly. And as you exhale, releasing any fear or anxiety that you have, any distractions from this energy that I'm going to give you. And let's just do a couple more deep breaths. And out. And if you want, you can place your hands on your heart or just connect to the heart space. And my gift for you all: acknowledge and be grateful for any blessing, big or small. Your frequency is so much greater and influential than you often acknowledge and realize. We mirror the frequency we sit in, and we project that frequency into the universe. Make sure your inner frequencies are in alignment with the vision of the world you'd like to create. You have a responsibility to maintain a strong and bright inner frequency, even when the outside world doesn't resonate with your frequency. Sit in your frequency and acknowledge your part for the positive changes you're creating in the universe. Acknowledge your frequency, and your inner world will expand and manifest in the universe. Acknowledge your significance and power. You are the universe. And I'll leave us all with that. Let me know if you felt that or where you felt that.
The energy was incredible. You know, Kevin, I'm not a religious man. Spiritual, yes. Religious, no. But as you were saying that, two things popped into my head. Everybody read 1 Corinthians chapter 13. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, read it. That will get you through these difficult times. The other thing is there's an essay called Desiderata. Desiderata, Desiderata, you know, oh, placidly amidst the noise and the haste. Remember the peace you can find in silence. Everybody look that up and read it, and that will also help you through these difficult times.
Yeah, and breathe.
And
breathe.
if it gets really difficult, breathe. I visualize myself on a beach in the ocean and just breathing in and breathing out. And then you can always come back to this video and just scroll to the end and do this exercise. These are ways that help keep us grounded and centered.
Absolutely. And again, it's not easy, but it's so important during these times to rise above the fear.
That was really a lovely way to energize. That was really good. Thank you. That was really
It came through so strongly this morning. I shared it on my community board, but I just wanted to share the frequency with my voice and how it came through. So
I felt an incredible sense of peace when you did that.
yes.
And I didn't feel fearful or anxious. I was just, so thank you.
I had the spirit bumps happening the whole time, all down my backside. So
there you go.
Felt a bit.
Next week, same time, same place, right?
Yes, we'll be on your channel next week. And again, please make sure to hit that thumbs up. Please leave nice comments. I appreciate that. But go to Mel's channel, subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see y'all next week.
All right.
All right. Take care, everyone.